So now again, it seems like it's up to the Germans to win or lose the game on, again, a fairly chancy maneuver, but not tremendously so. They're in much better shape than they were. Where I had to put the Italian army here, where it appears magically, really, because, you know, I've got some Italian troops here, but I had to put the Italian army somewhere to get an armored unit into play. And this is kind of the safest place to put it. I only need to advance 2 hexes, maybe 1 hex with the army, if Army C can make an advance there. To link things up so that I can, whatever I capture from this kind of center here, I can shift down. There is one problem with the Soviets. If I get them to surrender, they can cause partisans all over me, and that can absorb new territory for them. So they're not completely safe. I have to kind of garrison things. So for example, if this territory is all Soviet controlled, and it looks like it's going to be, a simple attack here can devastate this production center and add it to the Soviet Union, and there's not much I can do about it. And that can extend all over the place, really, for whatever value there is to that. That's their one way of kind of making points in the game, if they surrender, which will be a harassment to the Germans. But they want to knock Russia out. They need their armies to face the Western Allies head on, and they should be able to pull off at least some sort of minor victory that way. All right, so where am I going to launch my attacks? A into here, south into here, C into here, Italy into here, center here, north. I could gain some additional territory here. I could destroy this army. That doesn't really do me any good, though. So I might as well move the center. Let's move it into there. I don't think there's any harm to that. Okay, so all kinds of attacks here happening. Most of those armies are big enough. And yes, I've kept some Western troops in with the Italian army. I've got enough forces to manage what I need. All right. Oh, and I've got these. Run away! All right. And they can't leave Sweden, so... Ooh, there's another Swedish city. But it all falls when the capital goes. But I don't have production for that. Yeah. So we'll give us that. Because Sweden is actually Axis now. Alright, so let's launch our sequence of attacks, I guess. First, the north is going into here. The north has 8 armor. No problem. Yeah, the board's going to look crazy. Center, and getting this hex would be neat. The first Ukrainian army, it's got some infantry. I may be using that hex. Center's going to go into here. It's got 7 armor. Yeah, but I may lose Moscow. In fact, what I'm doing is pretty much ensuring that I'll lose key areas. And that's life. Italy going into here. Italy unfortunately has its penalty. Let's see where it is. I've got 4 armor going into a 1 hex. That would only be 1 to 4, make that 1 to 3. I'm going to launch my attack with this, though. So I've got a 6 firepower there. They don't get a penalty on that. I hit the hex, so now it's 4 armor against the 0, 1 to 6. It's only 1 to 5, though, because of the Italian army. Okay, Army C. Army C is just 6 infantry. I'm going to try to blow a hole in that hex to begin with. That's guaranteed. And now I've got no mechs 1 to 4 I go in. I don't make it anywhere. Maybe the Italians will close that gap. Otherwise, I'm going to have, well, not an impossible time because I'm going to connect up here. But there's going to be this big gap, which will suck. There's still going to, no matter what, there's going to be a Russian hole there that will be openable by partisans. The Germans can't build partisans, so they don't get to play this game. All right. Going to the South Army. 7 armor. We know that moves forward without a problem. And Army A, which has only 4 armor, which is, that's only a 1 to 4 if, but I'm basically moving this in order to get an attack on the Caucasus, so I have to just roll on this one. And I get lucky, maybe, sort of. It's hard to tell, because there I'm giving up a hex that's worth something, right? Okay. Now, which attack first? Well, let's do the Italians first, because I know what I want to do with them. So I've got 4 armor. That is an empty hex now, so it's 1 to 6, 1 to 5 for a space, 1 to 4 for the Italians. We make it in. And that's kind of cool, because that's a valuable hex, and I've got it garrisoned. And it's going to be the hard part, is I need these garrison troops to prevent partisans. All right, let's see about the Caucasus, because that's kind of easy. The South Army. I don't want to do that first. I want to do Army A first, right? Well, Army A is weaker. Yeah, let's do the South Army first. 7, 1 to 8. I've got a -1. I'm fine. I go into here, I devastate that. But now, and that takes this down. Now I have to hit the Caucasus, though. And that army is big, I'm sure. Yeah, 10-2. Okay. So, I'm going to use 1 air against their air point, and the other air... Yeah, I'm just going to use 2 air against their air point. Okay, so that was wise, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten a hit. And now I've got a 10 shot against Manstein's own force, and that does me 2 more, which doesn't really do much at all except reduce some of the firepower from that hex. Check to see if Manstein survives. He does. Now I've got 8 German firepower coming back with a -1. 3, that's going to be 2 hits on the Caucasus army. Yeah, that thing's still pretty damn big. All right, can I budge 8 of them with 7 armor? Nope. So I'm done. A. I've got 10 shot coming in on it. I do 3 more hits on the Caucasus. Now it's down to 5. That's a plausible number, at least. How much? But I don't have much armor, and not enough. And we're not going in. Oh well. Game's not over for the Russians yet, and that probably means quite a bit. So now I have to rethink, right? Or do I? Hitting this hex becomes more important. Because that's an anchor. And then maybe getting back to Moscow. So I'm going to move the North Army first with its big 8 tanks into a 1 hex. It's 1 to 7. I go in. And now I'm going to hit Leningrad. And Leningrad has 2 Air Force, which don't do anything, and 10 infantry, which do. They do 3 hits against the north. That's going to drop me down to only 7 tanks, which probably won't do it there either. Taking out a big space like that is tough. Okay, now the Germans get to hit 2 aircraft against their 2. Nope. And now 11 against their infantry. Ooh, there's no Zhukov here, we know that. That's 3. Oh, 3 hits in Leningrad. They're at 7. I'm probably not going to be able to move that either. You know, I cover every action in this game in terms of the combat, in part because such crazy stuff can happen that it's amusing. Okay, so now I have 7 armor up against 7 of these. That ain't going in. I'm done there. All right, so now we're on the last army, the army of the center. We want to hit this, because that'll knock the first Ukrainian army, which isn't too exciting. It doesn't have any tanks, but I'm going to hit that. It gets its defensive roll on the 7, and it doesn't have Zhukov. I get 2 hits on the center army. There goes the infantry. There's nothing there. Center gets to shoot back with 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's not good. Only 2 hits on, what was this, first Ukraine? 2 hits on the first Ukraine. That's not going to be terribly potent either. Okay, and now the center army has 7, 8, 9 armor, if I use that, against 5. Which means a 1 to 4. I've already gone a hex, so it's 1 to 3. No luck. Yeah, we didn't make it. And Moscow's open. And we didn't cut off the Russians anywhere. They're in here still, safe and sound. And the war continues on the East Front. They're tucked in this little corner here. Not a good move for the Germans. I thought I had a shot at taking it all out, but now, you know, each time I look at this and it flips one way or the other, and I'm like, it's over, it's over. And there's always surprises, but you know, those surprises only last so long. Eventually, this monster happens, and it is a monster. So, my guess is it's getting pretty close to over. All right, let's do my construction. Speaking of that monster, I should have had some more production last turn. Suez is open. That means the Indian money's going to come through. Oh well, got nothing. I don't know what I would have used it for. I could have built a couple more TAC air. Let's do that. Let's not cheat myself. All right. Okay, so the chaos in the east function. We're building up some of these cities. Not that one. One built that one, and I think there was another one I built. That one, and is there one there? No. I swear I built 2. I don't know where else the other one would have been. Maybe I'm mistaken. Some production there, but we also spent some points on some of these charts, more U-boats, and every time I think about buying U-boats, I realize, hey, I didn't do my actions, which I took care of there. Oh, I lose a whole bunch of shit here. That's going to lose me a point of morale. I gained 1 that I think I forgot to take for Sweden, and another one for taking the hexes this turn. But I'm going to lose 1 for the territory down there that I took. So that puts me back down to 17, just in case morale bombing is underway. And now I'm not sure the Americans are allowed to do morale bombing. You know, the Germans can. The Americans should be allowed to. Nah, it can be either. Okay. That's good, because with the firebombing, that clearly is what some of it was. So I forgot to flip over Army A, and I've got to do my leaders. But we've got a couple of rolls here to take care of. I want to go for the air defense roll. I think I have a bonus on that, don't I? My air defense is 8, yeah, so I'm kind of bonus because he's cheaper. But I get it. Full point in it. What does air defense go down to? If I can find it, it goes down to 7. Ooh. It gets really cheap eventually. But it's, you know, too painful to buy here. Bunch of U-boats though, another 5. And we've got no ASWs out there, so right now it's just free sailing. I forgot to buy any more of these last turn. I took one as a hit and then didn't spend on them. Oh well. Mechs, I'm still not doing U-boats. U-boats. Do I make U-boats cheaper? How much cheaper do they get? You know, they're not going to get that much cheaper. I may not get a shot at them. I'm going to make a roll. And I succeed. And that's awesome because they go down to 1.5 with a full success. And that's what these extra spaces are here. So now, and the next success brings me to 1. What about the bomber? Do I want to roll for that sucker? Well, that's bomber escort. Their bombers are at 4. Mine are at 7. You know, I might as well, I think. Except that may make it easier on the... Yeah, see, if I get down to 4, that makes it easier on the Americans to build bombers. So I don't really want to do that. I'm not planning on building any, so I'm just counting that I lost those points there. And that's going to put me on the Russians, and oh man, they're going to have a... You know, another one of these, try to flip things around and make them ugly. There's a couple of armies loose here that I can pin down. This hex is key. If I could take this hex out, I could cut off most of the German army. But that win rushes the game, though. That's the danger. You know, if Berlin falls, I've got to take other things. I've got to make sure to not let Germany fall. Kind of this weird kind of race for Berlin scenario. After much consideration, and my head's getting kind of fuzzy, I think I'm getting sick again, probably because I went out dancing and then swimming a couple of times afterwards and whatnot. I've decided this is what I'm going to be placed. This army I can't do much with. I could shift it over to the Italian, but I want to keep it on top of that production center, obviously. Leningrad, hey, I can hit the North Army with that, do some damage. Attrition type attacks for which I can buy back infantry. Likewise, Caucasus is going to hit the south, and the southwest is going to hit the south. Southwest is my mobile army. It's going to shoot across. If I can make it this far, good things happen, because then I've cut all of this off. I've put a lot in the southwest army, including Zhukov, and a bunch of air and armor. I'm hoping to get quite far with that. The army of Kiev is going to attack Italy because there's a base there. And again, a good-sized force there. The White Russian army has a good-sized armor contingent. Somehow I forgot to put these air units down there, which belong there. One thing that I might have wanted to do was to launch an invasion of Sweden, but that would just piss the Allies off, and maybe I wouldn't get my points then. So I'm kind of scrambling for my life here, and I don't really have the ability to run out and perform such little excursions. You might see that more likely, though, in some games where, say, the Russian player is not, you know, feeling like he has a good shot at winning. He makes a stab for something like that and then tries to hold his misdeeds as some sort of blackmail as to why the other player, the allied player in this case, would have to do more. Even though I'm stealing 4 production centers that you more or less have already claimed with your attack. There's nothing that stops the Russians from attacking this just because the Allies attacked it. It's not Allied territory. It's German-controlled territory at this point. All right, let's see what these attacks do. To begin with, any reason for this? Yeah, a little bit. Leningrad against the North Army. The North Army gets to shoot back first. I don't know quite what's going to happen here, but I don't have a leader. I know that much. I have some 13 points to shoot at infantry with. 3, 4. So I do a pretty good hit on them. They're probably not going to do much back. Chance of that dying, but that's nothing. That's Zhukov, or that's not Zhukov. Now it comes back with a 6. And it does a big one against the North Army. But that big one is a big one. It's an armor. Which, because of the German keeping the mechanized prices high, is actually not something cheap. It never is really cheap. It's not like TAC Air or whatever. All right. Next attack. First Ukraine is going to hit this hex. This hex is unimportant, actually. First Ukraine has 5 strength points. That's not enough to make a guarantee, but that succeeds in nuking it, in which case the White Russian is going to march in there. I'm not going to try to move the first Ukraine into there. I like where he is. The White Russian has 4 armor against a 0. That gets me in for free. And that unit is still moving. Just something I can kind of point it this way. The Kiev army coming in against Italy. Italy will, of course, fire. They have no penalty on that if I can find them. I have no leader. 6 firepower. I get a hit against Kiev. Of course, that's going to be infantry. And Kiev gets to swing back with 11 points. Just 3 against the Italians. Now, though, this is kind of problematic. I only have 5 strength against 3. I need a 1 or a 2 to succeed in taking this. And there's not much I can do about it. Except roll well. Air power means I kill 2 more of those tanks. Yay! And the Italians have to withdraw. This is as good as anything. There goes one of those German points. And the Kiev army is still moving. And yeah, that was obviously a 6, but it's hard for me to tell the difference between the two. So I just pile them up as I will. The Caucasus army is going to fire first. Well, the South army can fire back at it. And what we've learned from prior usage was, hey, I want to get my full shot in. So I'm at 8 at -1 here. So I get, looks like 2 hits on the Caucasus army. And again, this looks like a 6. But they all do, really. Okay. And now the Caucasus comes back with a 7, which is 2 hits over here. Shot at Manstein. And I'm not going to be able to advance with the Caucasus army, I don't believe. So I go to the Southwest army, which has 14. And I believe I have Zhukov there. I'm taking my shot here. That's 3. And nothing. 3 more hits on Manstein. Since this is a different army attacking, it counts as another chance to kill him. And now with only 3 strength points there and 6 armor, we're looking at a 1 to 3 with a bonus of -1. I got a chance of pushing into that hex. I do. The South Army pushes back. There goes another German point. Yep, not morale. Although that's likely. And Southwest had 4 air. There goes the South Army, and Manstein's automatically destroyed with that in the pursuit. Well, great. We want to keep going then. Zhukov has 6 against a 1 is 1 to 6, and that stays even. So I make it into this hex. Not a problem. This one's a 1 to 5 though, and I may not make this. I do. That cuts this guy off. He's got no, there was a possible space there, but that could have been cut off as well. Well, 1 to 4 gets me here. Might as well knock that out too. Alright, now it gets harder because I can't take this out. And the question is, where do I want to go with this thing? I kind of like being in these hexes. So this, I think, is the end of the line for the Southwest. I'm not done with Kiev yet. I may still use him. I have the White Russians, though. And I'd kind of like to take Moscow back. So let's take a look at them. I got 4 armor going into a 1. I need a 1 through 3. That's a success. And that makes it a 1 to 2 to get into Moscow itself. I need to take this. This is actually the supply center here. Oh, bang. And there goes another of the German points. And now it's looking horrible for the Germans again. Do I want to keep rolling? Well, I'm not going to be able to build up troops in Moscow, and this becomes 1 to 2, etc. It just starts getting uglier and uglier. So the answer is no, I don't really want to keep rolling. I want to stop there. What about the Kiev army, though? That's got a decent amount of armor. Can I do something cool with that? Yeah, if I had taken this, maybe. 5 armor isn't going to get me very far, and the mountains aren't tasty. The OKW is all full up here. That's not going to fall easily. How many hexes did I just take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to cost the Germans their morale for this turn anyway. I'll take that off now while I'm thinking of it. Oh, this guy, he's in a good place. These guys are in good places. I think I'm going to sit where I am. The Caucasus army can't go farther. I'm going to build up all the production where I sit and force the Germans to push me back off of it. That's the constant play here. You're always paying to reinforce yourself with a new supply source. And it just, that money isn't ever going into production. It's just this constant burning of cash. Of course, with the low prices of the military units as they get down, it makes up for it. But that's just part of the cost of the war, really. All right, let's build some Ruski. And I forgot the Germans. This is their second winter. They would have been a +2 on all their die rolls this turn. Oh well. But winter is always a bad thing for the Germans. I'll let it sit as it is. Nothing I can really do about it. Just concentrate on building troops, getting their mech up. They're not going to make a roll now because The cost goes from 3 to 2. This is the best cost you can get is 2. I want to get it boosted up to step 4 before I go on to that. And that puts it over to the Western. Okay, for the Allies, they only took 1 casualty, moving stuff into the 8th Army here. Got what I could into there. I shifted everything I could from the US, basically. I got a lot of stuff still there. Significant force, including the amphibious. I'm planning on launching an attack into Greece at this point to grab as much of that as I can. And at the same time, I've reinforced some of my armor up into the 2nd Army. Got kind of a bit of a difficulty in getting the forces where they went. By the way, this is a trash picking accident. I got both my hands actually pulling a mirror out. Just to keep me from bleeding all over the place. All right. I have also split the English fleet. Some of it's up here. Basically, with the Italian fleet out of the way, I don't have to worry too much. So I've got the majority of my fleet facing the Germans, but I've got some here to provide me with some firepower support against Greece. All right, I guess we start our attacks. Let's hit Greece first. I've got to look up how many troops Greece is going to get when I hit them. They're nothing special, so they just get 2 strength points, and I'll put that in the 1 valuable space. Make it a little bit harder to get to, but that fleet's got 3... Jeez, I can't remember. I think it just has 4 gunfire coming in. Now, on top of that, I'm able to fire the 8th Army's amphibious. So I think that's 6 gunfire. Which means I take it down 1. That essentially means I'm down to the garrison. That's the notional strength on everything. Although it does get to fire back at my ships. I didn't do that first. Let's see. No hit. Okay. Now I get to try to... Jeez, this is annoying. I get to try to actually land against that. And my landing capability is 2-4 essentially against a 1-point hex. I need a 1 through 4 to land in Greece. I succeed. This goes back to its port. I had to actually launch this from here. And now I'm going to have some trouble getting Turkey, which I kind of wanted to take. Alright, now in Sweden, the 2nd Army has got like 9 tanks, as is going to roll in without a problem. And once I take Sweden, all of Norway will fall as well. 2nd Army is going to attack. So first that 3 strength points gets its shot. It hits the 2nd Army's 1 strength point. You know, I didn't take a loss here, but I get to see, did I have anyone? Hey, I had Monty there. That's kind of cool. And for the 2nd Army, I have no one. So I determined that on the first hex. So I took my loss. Now I have 15 strength points firing on that. And 10 does 2. 5 does another one. I wipe out the hex, which means the capital is trivial to get into. 9 strength points against 0 is 1 to 8, make it 1 to 7. I've just taken Sweden. It all falls. And those are Axis points coming off here. We're going to lose a point of Axis morale for this turn. Right. Lost 1 for the Soviet turn, losing 1 for the Allied turn. Yeah, I haven't gotten back to this, but let's see what I want to do with this. There really isn't a lot I can do. There's 5 more hexes that are going to go during the German turn, so they'll lose morale there too. Yeah, I can't think of much I really want to do. I'm going to start heading back. Heading back will get me friendly hex. So 1 to 9. I went 1, 2, so that's 8, 7, 6. That's not where Monty is, so I need a 5, I think, to get back. I didn't make it back to the coastline. I don't know how much that matters. That's okay. Now, do I want to do anything with Monty's little army here? He's got 2 armor, which means I can go advance on a 1 or a 2 if I so desire. I might as well gain some hexes, although that's a German controlled hex. That they're not yet. Speaking of which, all these games I'm getting a point of morale off of, in case it matters. Yeah, I want to advance. If I can, I can't. Okay. And at the end of the combat phase, then this all becomes German temporarily. Much of it will fall at the end of the German turn. Now I go to production. Brits rebuilt Sweden and Athens. Get themselves some higher points. A lot of tech spending here. I'm going to make some rolls there. Some additional troops and now some shipping. What I notably didn't do was buy any ASWs, but I got to get that number down. First thing is mechs. I'm going to roll for that. I want to help the Russians a little bit that way. I'm not going to pump money to them, but I'm willing to make a roll on the mechs table. And I get that down to $2. And now that somebody has the lowest value, well, everybody's going to jump down towards it at this point. Air defense, do I want that? No, because I'm not sure the Germans are going to build those bombers, but I did pump the points up in case they do. ASW, I am going to roll for that. I only got a 50-50 chance, but I need to get that. All right, that was a success. It goes from 8 down to 5. It's getting to a somewhat more reasonable price. It's still expensive, but that stuff doesn't go away. In Third Reich, they just cancel out U-boats, essentially. But in this, you actually have to roll out. Maybe the Advanced Third Reich has a different role for it, if I recall correctly. Atomic bomb, I'm going to hold off on these technologies. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess I pumped bomber up as well. My bombers are cheap. The problem is I only really need them for me to launch the atomic bombs. I'm not building them for another purpose. The atomic bombs are very, very powerful. I can use them to destroy, using tactical nukes, essentially, to destroy military units. I think that's it for the turn. So we go into 1943. Well, I don't know if the Germans can do anything. This army group knocked out, gone. That leaves them, I think, 10 armor available, 10 air, a little over 10 infantry. At this point now, I'm beginning to look at, okay, how can I maybe save a unit, or maybe both, because I could connect up to here and then build this hex and start working my way back, you know, the inevitable fallback. The first Ukrainian army is not terribly strong, so I could pound them out of there and start building up and working my way back, maybe. On that, I don't know what to do. The limitation of the Italian army is a pain in the ass. I put it here in Greece because this is kind of a problem for the Allies. They don't have a port here in Athens for some reason. So they can't do another invasion. They can't go leaping out of it. And that means they're going to have to kind of fight their way out. And they're kind of bottled up there now. Bad move for them. For the Germans, I'm going to launch an attack here and an attack here. Neither one's perfect, but, you know, this is what I got left. I've got leaders to move around, though. What's left of my leaders? North's got 5 armor against 1. That's a 1 to 5. No, I didn't make it anywhere. So the center army is doomed if I can't make it to hook up to that stuff. Army C only has 4 and was going to try to attack this hex. I think I may have to anyway. I'll go for it at 1 to 4. I got Rommel, so it goes to 1 to 5. Yeah, no. There goes the Russian or the German army. And those were my only attacks. So the center army, which was 7 armor, 2 air, and a paratrooper. And Army A, this is 5 hexes, so I lose a morale. So I'm losing this and this. Army A, which is 6 infantry and 4 armor, are both destroyed. And Germany looks like it's on the way out. It's not going to be a morale victory, that's for sure. And German production, I'm starting to build fortresses in Berlin. Got a couple of points there. These become active next time I get a turn. And one up here in Kiel. Try to keep some little highly defensive section. Might be able to hold out to the end of the game and get a marginal victory that way. It looks like the East is going to largely fall. Lots and lots of troops in Berlin, some TAC air, just to prevent the Russians from being able to storm there. They probably can't make it, but with 10 infantry in there, I'm going to get my fort built up. I am allowed to stack with those non-activated fort units right now, so that's fine. And it's time for me to roll the mech roll, because the Brits dropped their price on it. I didn't buy any mech for that simple reason. That I know it's going to go down in price. I also still have a decent amount, some 10 of them. Not enough to do a real counteroffensive, but we're leaving Russia, basically. As soon as, you know, whether we want to or not, we're leaving. This, I have naval supply. The only way that it can be stopped is if the Russian, well, by my rules, is if the Russians defeat the German Navy in the Baltic. By the actual rules of the game, it just cannot be stopped. Just like I would still have naval supply in the Mediterranean, even though I have no Italian Navy. You could make an argument that, yes, I should be able to cover this air route here. But, you know, I chose not to protect my Navy, as it were. Right? Or did it get attacked? I think I chose not to protect it. I chose to try to prevent that invasion. Norway, that's gone now. I already paid the price for all this. Alright, well, it's time to finish the Germans off. This isn't going to end them, but it's going to chase them out of Russia at this point. Army of the Southwest, big set of armor, planning on streaming through Romania, Bulgaria, and then cut the Italian army off from supply. Again, that's my rules about the Mediterranean. They don't have supply there because the English have dominated it with their fleet. I feel like my fleet fixes don't fix the game. They don't fix the naval aspect of the game, but the naval aspect is wholly unsatisfying to me. I'm not thrilled with what I've got here, but I like it a little bit better at least. The Army of the West and the 1st Ukrainian, neither one's very powerful. Oops. Why don't we make that just 1? Okay, the Army of the West is going to try to cut through Poland, grab some supply centers. The main purpose there, disrupt German supply, grab territory, get points. This army is going to be cut off by the surrender of Romania, so I don't have to worry about it. This army is more problematic, though. Germans do still have supply here, so I clustered everything I got up there. Leningrad, the Baltic, and the White Russians, 3 10-point armies, and then this Army of the Northwest, which is not going to attack this hex. It's going to attack this hex, but it's going to conquer that hex. The reason I have to do this is the Army of the North is just so powerful. I can't let that thing survive. It can fight its way back along the coast if I don't demolish it. I'm not going to be able to make it and defeat the OKW with what I got. I got too much infantry on the board to take the offensive full out. But eliminating that will go a long way towards helping make sure that the Germans, especially with their recent build, a lot of infantry, aren't going to come back at me and do any real damage. They're not going to cut any of my armies off. So I'm going to just be able to slash my way into Germany. Since I've been doing blow by blow, I might as well do it here too. Why stop now just because the Germans lost? Okay, so I got Zhukov here. I got 8 armor. No infantry. I don't need it. I'm going against a 1 hex. Hey, that falls automatically. Germany's going to lose this, and all of Romania has just fallen to the Soviets. That costs Germany a point. Even if there was a Romanian army on the board, this wouldn't take it away from it. That army doesn't really mean anything, unlike the Italian army from what I can tell. The Western army was going into here. It's got 5 armor. That gives me a 1 through 5. I'm going to take a shot. With a 6 shot, that guarantees that I get it to 0. So I end up taking that hex automatically, but I've used my firepower. I couldn't take this hex and take all of Poland again. Poland's fallen once. Once a country falls, it can't fall again. It's just conquered territory. All right. Over here, now I start launching the big attacks. Now, I know I got to throw my attack with the North Army coming in there, so I'm going to hit, well, the White Russians are going to shoot first. I don't want to shoot first with Leningrad because I might end up losing Leningrad if I do that. Okay, so the White Russians are going to shoot first. They have, and the Germans are going to fire first at them with 20 strength points. That's a big 7 hits on the White Russians. Yeah, air power can be quite impressive. However, it's only infantry. Okay, and that's a hit against the Northern Army, which goes down to a 4. I can't advance, so now I go to the Baltic Army, which also has 10. Actually, I'll do the Leningrad now since they fired. That has 10. 3 more hits against the North Army. Just dissolving that sucker. Still not gone. Now I go to the Baltic. 4 hits against the North Army. We're down to 2. Still can't take it with an all-infantry army. But as you can see, this is very, very weak. I may not need to use my assault from the Northwest Army, but it shows its attack here. It's only got 4 armor. That's the problem. 4 armor against a 1 is a 1 to 4. I may not even make it into that first hex. I do, however. And that's a victory point that changes hands, even if it's not rebuilt yet. Now we get continuations. I'll just keep going with this Northwest Army. I'm going to do an assault against the North Army. Now, to do this, I have to launch 10 of my points against the air power, which really has no effect. That's not what I'm worried about. That drops them down to 7 air power. Although it does improve my pursuit, but that doesn't matter because he's got nowhere he can retreat. And now I've got 10, 12 that I'm firing into the North Army. Just 3 more hits. It is wiped out. I think I kill an air unit anyway at this point. They just have to be taken last. I'm not going to look it up because it's not really that important. Okay, and now I've got 4 armor into a 0 hex. Would normally be 1 to 6. It goes down to 1 to 5 because I advanced a hex. That's a success. I have destroyed the remainder of that air power. Of course, those were only 1 point each air points now. Now I can keep going. And I will. I've got 4 armor going into a friendly hex. So 1 to 7 drops down to 1 to 5. 4 armor against a 1 would normally be 1 to 4. I was down 2, so I'm down 3. I need a 1 to go forward at this point. Nope. I'm not sure how much I would have gained from that, but you know, I can build armies up here. I'm not worried about the internals getting hit anymore. Let's see what the Western Army can do. It still has 5 armor. Going against a 1 hex is 1 to 5, goes down to 1 to 4. So they go into Poland. Nope. And now the Southwest going into Bulgaria to capture it. Oh, God. 8 armor. So 1 to 8. It's at even at this point. Yeah, I don't have to actually roll that. Bulgaria falls as well. That's going to make 1 to 7. To here. It limits Britain's ability to, say, invade Turkey to get that port. It's going to make their job harder. 1 to 6 into Albania. Let's start putting some Russian markers here in Greece, the German ally. I don't know if I had to roll. Let's see. I came from here. 1, 2, 3. I've taken 4 off. I was 8 armor. I should be down to 1 to 4, make it 1 to 5 for Zhukov. I still haven't made an attack yet. But I'm going to go forward into this hex. Yep, no, I'm not. My fault. I don't really have to attack the Italian army. It's out of supply, it's not doing anything, and it'll die on the vine there. The important thing, though, is the English are not getting out of Greece without some ease, without being shifted out by navies. I'm not giving the English unlimited transport power. They're still going to have the reduced transport until Italy falls. There's just too much chance of air interference to make any sense of that, or whatever, I don't know. Russia's got a big 25 points to spend. They're going to rebuild their economy and start putting what they can on the board. They want to win this war before the Allies can get into it. West's in an interesting position here. I boosted their production. They're up to 38. This is the U.S. continual growth. If I add the 4 production points that the Russians own currently, there aren't any others kicking around that would just fall anyway. That puts them to 32. 32 plus 16 is 48. I could get the substantial victory. 3 to 2 for the Allies. That would also push the Soviets down to a marginal. So I could get the edge on them if I can get 10 more points of stuff. Now I've gathered a force here at Gibraltar, sending the 2 amphibious there to land somewhere. And I'm trying to figure out, do I have enough points? So here I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10 if I took Germany, if I took Berlin. If I fail in taking Berlin, though, I've just thrown a lot of resources right into the heart of Germany that maybe I'll lose. And maybe I can get to the 2 to 1 level. I don't think the Russians are going to be able to knock Germany out of the war at the beginning, but I think I can land, say, in Italy, which would free up my restriction and let me pull the 8th Army out of Greece, because then I'd have unlimited supply in the Mediterranean. So all I have to do is take 3 hexes in Italy, and it surrenders. No hexes change hands. But, well, if I take these 3 hexes, I get the rest of this, I get this. The German position in the Mediterranean is completely gone. In fact, this is probably allied by now, just because of my Navy control, as is Corsica. But the danger there, of course, is that the Russians get a lot more points after they charge into Germany. You know, can I count on the Germans to be able to, or to care to defend themselves that much? They just want to survive. They don't really care who gets the points. And this is the best turn to hit the Germans because they don't have a big fort that they're building here. It's only 2 points right now. But remember, those count double to units attacking them. I don't think the Germans can last out the game, but if I knock them out now, maybe this is my best effort. And I've got a pretty decent armored force, a humongous air power force. I can't bring it all into play. Some of it, oops. Oh, I think I lost 3. Yeah, so the big U-boat attacks make it difficult. I'm thinking this may be the Allies' best chance is to take a quick stab at it now. Plus, that would allow me to get out of interesting and humorous, but by the time it's clear that the Germans are going to fall, all World War II games kind of, European World War II games kind of disinterest me a little bit at that point. So will 7 armor do to get me 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5th hex? It might. I got Montgomery with me, that'll help. Yeah, let's go for it. Alright. So, the first hex is real easy because I got a lot of air power. I got my fleet taking that hex. This doesn't actually come. It knocks out that hex. And then I have a landing force of 4 armor. Going into a 0 is 1 to 6, 1 to 7 with Montgomery. I'll be taking that hex trivially. And the Germans are down to 30. I don't really want to attack the Italians. I don't see wasting my troops on them. They'll die very soon. As long as I have my fleet in Gibraltar. So, we'll go for here. I got 7 armor. It's against a 1. I'm on the 1 to 7 there at natural. Another German point goes down. Let's start putting some Allied stuff there. Down to 29. A lot of counter fiddling. You know, a modern implementation of this might have little dials to keep track of this, like like Chicago Express has it, or Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that. Definitely would make it easier than reaching into the counter tray constantly. Alright, now into here. Well, I was at 1 to 7 now. I'm going to be down to 1 to 6. As that falls. 2 more. 1 to 5 into there. No! And now the Brits are in some stupid place in the middle of Germany. And the Allied army might get destroyed by this. Oops. That was the risk. But I like high risks in this game in a way that I don't really get off on them in other games. I gotta rebuild this production center so I don't just lose it. And wow. I think Montgomery just lost his army. Oops. Summer of 43 here, and geez, that's where we're heading into. This is going to load up, but I'm just, I got some rolls that I think I want to make. We built this space for whatever it's worth. The Germans can knock me out of there so easily, I'm sure. You know, an attack on France, the Germans could knock me out of it, but then they're giving up the ability to knock something out of Russia, so it becomes a tough call whether or not to defend France. All right, let's make an A-bomb roll. The nice thing about the A-bomb, you hit Germany, you hit Berlin with that, and you capture Berlin with it. Let's see where these are here. At least temporarily. Whatever cities I think you take, you capture with the bombs. That's what I seem to remember. Maybe that's a Third Reich rule I'm thinking here. Yeah, I think that's a Third Reich rule, that cities devastated by bombs end up counting as captured. So no, that's not a way out of this. I don't know why I'm paying for them. Oh, they're not like permanently devastated or anything like that. They can blow the living shit out of these fortifications, though. That might help. Right. They're damaged bomb by bomb. Each bomb permanently devastates a production point, never to be repaired again, and so it does permanently get rid of it. That could be a way of denying points to the Russians, I guess. And it also attacks the strength points in the hex with the strength 6 on the firepower table. Yeah, I think I'm wasting points on the bomb, and thus on the bombers. Let's take 3 more points back. Does that give that'll give me another amphibious in Britain. That'll give me a little bit more flexibility. I'm worried I'm going to lose my only amphibious armies. Okay, air defense I don't want to roll. Well, I'll roll for the A-bomb. What the hell? If I'm not going to take it, I might as well. 3, I get a B. That doesn't help when you're at P levels. I don't know if it counts as a failure. I'm going to do it as 1. It goes back a space. And I'm going to do the same on the bombers. Hey, I succeed with bombers somehow. My bombers are 4. They might be of some use at $3 each. That's the cheapest they get. But I'm not going to be building them. I might as well roll for them and see what I can get. Unlike the air defense, I don't see a necessary advantage to that. So they might serve some neat purpose for me. Although I don't particularly want to knock German morale down. And that's all we got there. So this is going to be going up. Not a good turn for the Allies, it turns out, because I think they just handed the game to the Russians. Not sure. The game is a strong point. That's not what I... That's a lie, actually. But they gave them a shot at a marginal victory and a reducing Allied victory. Basically, the quicker the Russians can get to Germany, and the more of these they can get, the better off they are. So if I could get 11 points of production, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, another one somewhere else, by sweeping into Germany at this point, I would get to a 1-to-1, which gives me the substantial victory. And for the Allies, at best, that gives them a marginal victory. If they don't make the 1-to-1, if the Soviets come out ahead in the peace, they lose. You know, along with Germany. And the East is red. And so is the center. All right, up it goes.